To the I Try Jam channel, and today we're going to be doing the top 25 coaster rankings that I had promised that would be coming soon to the channel, the one that I've been working on. So this is finally going to be the top 25 rankings that I've promised probably since 2019. So we're looking right now as of 83 credits. So obviously still a long way to go before I have a good amount of coasters under my belt. Actually, this ranking will probably be very different come in a few months. So, expect an update very soon, maybe once I hit 100. Or maybe I'll wait until I hit to like 125 or something like that because it's going to change, I feel like, a good amount in maybe even a couple weeks. So, there's definitely going to be some updates. And just letting you know, while I'm doing this countdown, I'm going to include some POVs and I'm just going to do like a little slideshow style running it through all the top 25. And unless I state otherwise, all the pictures on these slides are going to be my own pictures that I've taken when I've been to these parks. So go follow the Instagram. It's right there. Ejector Airtime. There's my logo. Go check it out. You can't miss it. If you see that logo, you know it's me. And you'll probably see some of these pictures on there too. So just go check it out. So let's just get started right now with the countdown. We'll go to number 25, and it's going to be Superman Ride of Steel at Six Flags America Intamin Mega Coaster. Thoughts? I think it's okay. I thought it was all right. Is it worth going to Six Flags America for? Honestly, no. I wouldn't go to this park really at all. Besides the credits, I think Joker's Jinx was a more unique ride than Superman, but it's still a good Intamin ride. Don't get me wrong, the drop is still really good. And overall, I mean, it's still an Intamin Mega Coaster, so you can't go wrong, but it doesn't compare to the other Superman, which you're going to see on this list later on in the countdown. But it is still a good ride nonetheless. I just feel the layout is a little bit boring at certain sections. So I would say it's not totally the best, but it comes in at 25 regardless. At 24, we have Great Bear, the B&M invert at Hershey Park. This is actually the only B&M invert you're going to see on my rankings. Um, I love B&M coasters. I'm not the biggest fan of inverts, although they are more forceful than other rides. I think this one has a really good layout, and I think it's a really good invert, obviously because it's at 24 on the rankings. This is going to fall down, later on as I get more rides in, but Great Bear is still a solid ride, really good, and it's just adds to Hershey Park's value overall with its diversity in the lineup. So at 23, we have Steel Force by Morgan Coasters at Dorney Park. And my thoughts on this ride are it's okay until you get to the very last stretch when you get to those airtime hills. And I've heard about the whole magic seat thing on Steel Force. Same thing with Magnum XL. And you get that magic seat with the airtime. I thought the drop was not very good. Honestly, the whole ride isn't very good until you get to that one big helix, and then those final airtime hills are kind of fun. But overall, still a middle of the road coaster. It's still very good, but not the greatest coaster yet. But we are at 23, so we still got a bit to go till we get to the top 10. I feel like once we get to the top 10, then that's when these coasters start getting good. So, anyways, number 22 is TMNT, Shellraiser, and Nickelodeon Universe. The only coaster from this park, obviously, because this is the only big forceful coaster besides Sandy's Blasting Bronco, which just missed out on the top 25. But this ride does have the steepest drop in the world, and it has a pretty cool view when you're at the top, when you're overlooking New York City from the top of the mall, which is really cool. But it's the one Gerstlauer that's on my list. The only Gerstlauer that I've ridden. But I thought it was fine. It definitely does have its sections of a little bit of jackhammering, but those launches are really forceful. The loops are really fun. The inversions are good, and the drop is really good. Even though it's so fast that you honestly, I don't even feel the big like the whole like beyond 90-degree drop. But it is still a good ride nonetheless. It does have a little shaky parts, but still not bad. At 21, we have Talon, another B&M invert Did I say this is Great Bear was the only B&M invert on my list? Well, I guess Talon's on here as well. I completely forgot about Talon. There's Talon at 21, a little bit more forceful actually, and I'm gonna put it on this list just because honestly, I love the color scheme of this coaster. It just looks so well. When you come into the park, it's literally right there on the right side of Dorney, and it just stands out. I love the color scheme on this thing. I think the drop is better than on Great Bear for sure. Definitely on this ride, the drop is better. The inversions are a little bit tighter, and the layout is short, but it is still pretty good for the ride. At number 20, we have another B&M, and this is a B&M floorless, Bizarro at Six Flags Great Adventure. Probably the smoothest ride on this list, as in not the case of smoothness of the track, but just the smoothness of the transitions, the inversions. The whole ride itself is just the smoothest ride at the park. I feel like it's just so calm. You can just get in there. There's usually never a line for this ride at all, unless it's like a super busy weekend. But Bizarro's super chill, never fails to disappoint. It's the immersion's always fun. The Cobra Roll's fine. When the flames are going, that's awesome. But now it's Medusa now, so I can't even call it Bizarro. It's Medusa now. So I have to go rewrite that as a new name. I don't know if that counts as a new credit or not, but as of right now, I still have it as Bizarro from Six Flags Great Adventure. At 19, we have Raptor. The one picture I have from Raptor. Now, this is before I was really an enthusiast. So it's just a picture when I went out there back, I want to say in 2016. I went summer of 2016 is when I went out to Cedar Point for one day. And it was like, I was not really into coasters still, but I went on Raptor, and Raptor was super fun, super forceful, really a good ride. Honestly, the most forceful invert by far. It's more forceful than Talon, more forceful than Great Bear. It's got some crazy inversions, really fast too. So it definitely packs a punch, and I mean, probably the best invert that I've ridden to this point. I'm almost positive. Let me guarantee that. I don't think there's another invert on this list that tops Raptor, and I've heard that Raptor's right up there. I need to get on Banshee though at Kings Island. At number 18, we have Magnum XL 200 from Arrow at Cedar Point. And I got kind of a sunset night ride on this thing, and it was so good. Just dipping into those tunnels, and then right after the tunnel, getting into those airtime hills at the very end was so good. I was coming out of the seat every little hill at the end. So it definitely gives you some good ejector at the end there, and I feel like the drop felt a lot better than on Steel Force. Although they are very similar, but Magnum was just that much better that it jumps all the way up to 18. But it's still a really good ride. Don't misjudge Magnum at all when you go to Cedar Point. It's gonna be a really solid ride, and it just bolsters that lineup at Cedar Point. Which honestly, Cedar Point doesn't even need to get bolstered because they already have probably the best lineup in all of America. So at number 17, we have Fahrenheit at Hershey Park, another Intamin ride. This is one of the Intamin's most unique rides, really. I don't even know what to call this thing. I guess just the Intamin vertical lift coaster, I guess. They don't really have a name for this model, at least that I don't know off the top of my head, but Fahrenheit is here. It's very unique. I mean, you're not really going to find another Intamin like this, at least that I know of here in the US. So it's just so cool with that vertical lift. It just right away you go into that 90-degree drop, and it just goes crazy with the inversions, super forceful. Honestly, the best part is really just the inversions. Although I will say the track is a little bit rough. They might need to retrack this soon. At least my last rides on it were very rough and kind of took away from the experience a little bit. Maybe this might be a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower. I do need a couple rewrites on this, but I feel like as of right now, thinking about it, I think this falls well at 17 on the countdown. At number 16, another Intamin, and now we have the Intamin hydraulic launch coaster, King Ka at Six Flags Great Adventure, the tallest roller coaster in the world, still second fastest in the world. I think this is the second. I think it's the second fastest. I'm pretty sure still Formula Rosa is the fastest right now. Is still, but right now King Ka, I'm putting it out here at 16. It's just a one-trick pony, really, honestly. I mean, the launch is amazing, something you will not experience anywhere else, at least unless you got on Formula Rosa, I suppose. But the launch is crazy, but honestly, the whole rest of the coaster is kind of an afterthought. It's super cool to go up that top hill, and just go all the way down and just plummet down with that spiral. I honestly don't really feel much with that last airtime hill, but it's really, I think, just a one-trick pony. It's cool to say that you've been on it. Honestly, I would just skip this ride altogether if I went. Just go Marathon El Toro, really, and Nitro over this thing. You get way more ride time. I've never really been a big fan of these. It's really more just for the spectacle of the park. So King Ka goes in at 16 for me. At 15, we have Hydra the Revenge at Dorney Park, another floorless coaster. And the reason this is going over Bizarro because I feel like Bizarro has so many clones that I've ridden, and Scream is kind of one of them. But Hydra is the most unique layout floorless that I have ridden thus far. Now I'm hoping to ride Dominator soon. That's gonna be my next floorless that I think has a new layout. But Hydra the Revenge, just with that JoJo roll right at the beginning, is amazing. Straight up. Amazing JoJo roll just to start the ride. And then it's a very small footprint, but it packs a lot into it still. You still get the whole floorless vibe, but that just the start of the ride is awesome. Awesome start to the ride. I'm never gonna forget the hang time on that JoJo roll. I love it. And I think it's honestly a better ride than Kingdom Come, personally speaking. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but I think Hydra comes in a little bit higher up there. So that's number 15 in the rankings. As we go on to number 14. Now, these two pictures are not mine. And also, let me specify the Magnum XL picture was also not my picture. Forgot to mention that. But Boulder Dash and Magnum XL are the two so far that I do not have any pictures for. No, sorry, Magnum XL was my picture. What am I talking about? I switched it out. Boulder Dash so far is the only one I don't have a picture for. Um, I did not have a picture. I went there for a senior trip back in high school, so it's been a while. Not an enthusiast still at that point, but I get like 4 rides on this thing, and I still remember how amazing this ride is right here. This is a CCI, and it just hauls through that forest. It is so much fun. I got a couple rides in the rain too, that out and back, all the way out into the forest, coming back down with the views of the lake is such an unforgettable experience. Now I have to go rewrite this. It's been a while now. We're talking 2017, and I have it up here at 14. This might be going down. It might be going up. It might be even better than I remember. But from what I remember, all those rides, it was so much fun that I had to keep rewriting this ride over and over and over. The speed through the forest was so cool. The rain, I think, just added to the experience. So I need to just go ride this on a regular day and see how it feels. But overall, I still thought Boulder Dash was an amazing ride. It is highly regarded as a great ride, and I'm still having it here at number 14. I think it's an amazing coaster, so it's still here at 14 for me. At number 13, my one picture of Val Raven that I took. This was in 2022. Just went to Cedar Point last fall, and this was honestly a great drop ride. This is a B&M dive coaster. I'm having it up here. The vest restraints were a little restrictive. I didn't think they were as bad as people were saying they are, but overall, I thought this was still a decent ride. You get the great floater on that drop. The inversions were fun, but honestly, it was more so the night ride. I got a night ride on it. I thought it was awesome. I know a lot of people think same thing. I know I say Kinakaza one trick pony. So are dive coasters. I will admit, but I just think that the whole gimmick of the dive coaster is a lot more fun than the launch on King Ka. I just love the whole stopping at the top of the drop and just dropping down 90 degrees. I just feel like you feel the drop a lot more. So personally, that's why I have Val Raven over here. And just no surprise, I have Griffin from Busch Gardens Williamsburg right here at number 12. I just put this a little bit higher because they just have the over the shoulder restraints, and you just get so much more floater when you're dropping down. It was so good. Griffin is the OG dive coaster, and it is such a good ride. Um, I need to get back out there and ride this thing. I love Griffin. I love the splashdown too. I just think it adds more to the coaster, also personally, and I love that blue color on it too. So I just love Griffin. I love the whole like look of the station, how you have perfect views of the ride everywhere. I mean, look at these pictures I have right here. I love this ride. So, and I have a t-shirt for it. If I have a t-shirt for a ride, you know I love it. So that's just rule number one right there. So Griffin, amazing ride regardless. At number 11, Jersey Devil. I do not have a picture for this at all. This is stock image of the logo, but I have Jersey Devil at Six Flags Great Adventure. Now, this I feel like could be going down. I think I ranked this a little bit high. I did get two rides on this thing. I got a back row ride and I got a front row ride. Back row ride was amazing, but honestly, I think I overhyped this a little bit. I'm gonna have to re-ride this soon, definitely to re-rank this. But personally, I feel like this is an overranking. I might have this a little bit too high, but I thought it was an okay ride. I think this might have to be a re-rank though. Honestly, tell me what you guys think. I thought the inversions were fun. I thought that zero G stall was awesome. Um, but I might just be re-ranking. I might just be hyping this up a little bit too much on my rankings at number 11. But regardless, at number 10, we're into the top 10, and we're starting with the B&M Flying Coaster Tatsu at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This is my one picture I have right here. Again, I did not have my camera equipment, so I just took a regular picture off my phone. As soon as you walk in and you see this thing on that hill, you just know this thing is going to be awesome. It's by far the best flying coaster that I've ridden, and probably the best flying coaster, maybe tops in the U.S. Maybe Fly back in Germany will top this thing, that Vekoma flying coaster. But Tatsu was amazing. That pretzel loop is insane, just as I've heard, and the ride was just spectacular. I love the color scheme on Tatsu. I know they just redid it too with the green and orange. I just love the location of this ride. It looks so good on that mountain, just going around the terrain, dipping down. Really, the most true to life flying experience on a coaster by far. So Tatsu comes in at number 10. At number 9, we get another B&M. We're going into real B&M heavy territory here. B&M Hypers. And I think these are my favorite models by far. I just think as reliability and that I know I'm always going to get a good ride on a B&M Hyper. Candemonium from Hershey Park comes in at number 9. I can never go wrong with a B&M Hyper drop ever. The floater, amazing. Back row, you might get some ejector. I love this ride. These pictures, funny enough, are like right next to each other. But that little wave turn that it does before it enters that fountain turnaround is so fun that you get that little pop of sideways airtime. It's so good. Honestly, this ride was so good. I honestly debated between the next coaster and this one very much, but number 8 is Nitro from Six Flags Great Adventure. Also, one of my favorite pictures that I've ever taken right here. But Nitro, I think is just the OG for me. This is my home park, so Great Adventure has always been a ride. I think I've ridden Nitro the second most out of all my coasters. I think I've ridden Nitro. I think I'm like at 83 rides. I think I've tracked so far. So I love this thing. I really debated whether Candemonium or Nitro is better. Obviously Candemonium was a lot smooth, like smoother. And I've rid it since opening day. But Nitro just gets the whole point just for being that out and back. The layout, going into the forest, coming back, that upwards helix with that insane intensity that makes me tear up all the time. And then that final ejector hill off the brake run. If you're in the back row, you get that huge pop of ejector. Honestly, I just can never go wrong with Nitro. I mean, they're so similar. I think I just had to put Nitro at this spot here at number 8. I think it's deserving. It makes sense to have it at 8. At number 7, we have Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England. Now we're getting into the real heavy hitters here. The first RMC, actually second RMC, sorry, New Jersey Devil. But really, I'm the first RMC because this is the real RMC coasters right here. Obviously, I'm not really counting the single rail. Um, this ride was so good. I was so hyped to ride this RMC. This is the first RMC I ever rid, by the way. And I was just so excited to finally ride my first RMC. Got on this thing, and I was amazed at how much they put into this small footprint. And it is so much fun. The airtime is insane. The drop is so good for just being a small drop. And they just put so much into this ride. This is honestly arguably either the best coaster in the park or the second best. Because obviously you can put them back and forth, but I have it at 7. This could switch. I do have to get out to New England before the summer's over to re-ride this and get a definitive answer on that. But right now, at number 7, I have Wicked Cyclone. Number 6, the next counterpart at New England, Superman the Ride, the real Superman the Ride. Also, this picture is not mine. This is straight from Google Slides Imager. Obviously, you can tell by the headset, I was not there to take this picture. I wish I had pictures of this thing. Even on my phone, I do not have any. But I will just say this right now: Superman the Ride at New England is the first ride and only ride that's ever made me gray out. It is that good. The drop into that tunnel is insane. That turn back out into the airtime hills, and then you get to that spaghetti bowl section, and then that dip into the tunnel, insane. The whole layout of this ride is so much fun, so intense. I loved every second of it. So I only got one ride on this. I have to go back and re-ride this at least two more times. It's really hard to debate whether Wicked Cyclone or this is better, but personally, just because of how intense this was, I had to put Superman the Ride over Wicked Cyclone. But still, love this ride. It comes in, honestly, at a good spot at number six. At number five, really bad pictures. I have a parking lot picture of Twisted Colossus and the logo. But here we go. Twisted Colossus at number five for Six Flags Magic Mountain. The next RMC on the list. And arguably, I could even see myself putting Wicked Cyclone or Superman above this. The reason I'm putting Twisted Colossus at five is because you get two rides for the price of one. Like the fact that you are getting on the blue side to then get onto the green side all in one go. You get to experience the ride twice with different elements on each track is the best part of this ride. I love that you can go on both sides on one go. And you, especially when you race the other one, it's even better. The high five moments, the zero G stall on the green side. Oh my god, it's hard to pick the right side. I feel like the green side is a little bit better than the blue, but honestly, the airtime you get and the fact that it's two for the price of one made this ride go up to five for me. I feel like it's justifiably right at five. It is so good. I mean, just look at the drop from that picture right there. It is such a good drop, and you experience it twice. You cannot go wrong with that. At number four, very controversial pick at four. I feel like either some people are gonna love this, some people are gonna hate this. Phoenix at Knoebels is at number four. This was actually my number one coaster. And I had it at number one even after or even before I had ridden my other or after my bad, I'm sorry. I had ridden Phoenix after I'd ridden all of the coasters in my top three right now. So the fact that it was at number one at one point, I think was honestly just the excitement after I got off the ride. I was like, this is number one. But I came to my senses. I was like, all right, this has to be down a little bit. It still has to be my top five because Phoenix's airtime is no joke. When I got on this thing, I was literally at one point standing up on this thing because of the lap bar. And it is so good. Now, if it had a regular lap bar, I feel like this coaster would not be nearly as good or enjoyable. But with that current setup on those trains by PTC, this thing is so much fun. It's so just honestly, it does not look menacing at all. But you get the most insane airtime I've ever had on any ride to this day, regardless. It's just because of the whole setup, and I loved every second of it. So Phoenix, I think, justifiably comes in at number four for me. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. But we're going into my top three right now. The three best coasters I've rated so far out of 83 credits. Starting off with another Intamin Sky Rush. Or some people like Thigh Crush. I don't know. It depends what you say. I've ridden this thing, I think, almost 10 times now. I want to say it's either 9 or 10 times. I have to check my tracker. But regardless, I've only gotten thigh crushed once, and it was a little painful. I have to admit that. But honestly, for only being 10 or 1 out of 10 times, 10% chance I'll get thigh crush. I'm gonna take those chances because the other 9 times are some of the most intense filled moments I've ever had on a coaster. The whole cable lift going up super quick right into that drop. Insane drop. Let me tell you, you feel insane airtime on the drop. Then just followed by moments of insane airtime. Crazy laterals, crazy turns and curves. It's flying through the layout. Intamin did an insane job with this ride. Kind of a build up for me for I-305 because I'm excited for I-305. But the ride here at Skyrush is so good. I literally keep coming back for this ride alone. I got a t-shirt. You already know it's cemented. Intamin did their thing on this ride, and Intamin did their thing on the next one, which is number two, El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure. I don't think there's any debate at this point. El Toro is probably in most people's top five, at least. If they've ridden a whole bunch of coasters, it's at least in their top five, maybe top 10, the most. I don't think it goes out of anyone's top 10. And El Toro is just known. I mean, the Rolling Thunder Hill is one thing, but those camelbacks that I have a picture of right there on the left are so good. And then the first drop is already so great too. It's just I personally for me, I think this is the best wooden coaster. I don't know if anything's gonna top this. Um, I don't know. I have to think. I just don't think so. El Toro is just that good. The airtime is insane. I always try to get a little bit more room on my lap bar to just get that little bit extra airtime because I am ejecting out of my seat. Just as my logo says, eject airtime, and it is the best type of ejector airtime by far. I mean, this ride is insane. It has had its set of problems recently, which, makes me hope for the future that this thing will be fine. But we're just gonna have to wait and see. I just hope they really take care of this thing and that we do not see this getting shut down because this ride is legendary. So we've come now to the number one coaster, and is it a surprise? It's Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. Surprise, surprise. I don't think it's a surprise at all. But I will say this: when I finally got to get on this last year, I didn't ride this all the way until last year. 2022 was my first time going on this thing, and I had heard all the hype. I heard about this being the best coaster in the world before Iron Gwazi, nonetheless. I don't know about where it is standing now. I know Velocicoaster's open. I know Iron Gwazi's open, and there's other rides open. And I don't know if Steel Bench is still highly regarded as the number one coaster. But I am gonna say this: I had never been so excited than going up a lift hill than when I was on this ride for the first time. I was so excited to see if this is gonna live up to the hype, and it lived up to the hype and more because that drop is insane. The airtime is crazy. That whole turn, outer bank turn, where you just whip back and get insane airtime on that turn after the drop, and then going into two barrel rolls and just weaving in and out of the structure was crazy. The ride time was so worth it. I totally get why people wait 2 hours for this ride. I would tell you if I waited 2 hours for this ride, I would tell you it was worth the wait because the ride is that good. RMC went above and beyond at Cedar Point with Steel Vengeance, and I cannot wait to go back and ride Steel Vengeance. It was that good. It's deserves its number one spot. I'm not questioning anyone's review of this coaster. I totally get why this was so highly regarded when everyone was riding this thing. So, it lived up to the hype. The fact that I came in with super high expectations and it still exceeded them, it's number one. It's number one. I got as much merch as I could for this thing because I was in love with this ride as soon as I got off. I was so happy when I got off this thing. I couldn't believe the ride I had just gotten. It was that good. So anyways, let's go into the just missed the cut category. So I wanted to show you kind of what's outside of my top 25, just into like the 30s, so you guys can kind of get an idea of what I missed out. And maybe one of these is, a ride that you think should be in my top 25, and you think I misranked it. You would rank it differently. Joker's Jinx is one of them right there at 26. Sandy's Blasting Bronco, 27. I told you, just missed out. Expedition Everest at Disney World, I would honestly say for that drop out of the mountain was so good. It's just the whole ride, the whole backwards drop. It's just so much fun. Riddler's Revenge, really good stand-up coaster at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Actually, really good. Goliath at Magic Mountain, honestly, not terrible. The drop really should be better, but I thought the ride was okay. Apocalypse, super fun Woody. And Gatekeeper, I feel like cannot go wrong. It's a really good B&M wing coaster. I thought it was really awesome. Other than that, though, there are a bunch, obviously, going into the 60s and 70s, 80s, a bunch of family and kiddie rides. Nothing special there. There are a couple other coasters in there, but I figured that, this is kind of accurate, I feel like, for my rankings. So some stats here. 10 B&Ms in the top 25, 6 Intamins, 4 RMCs, 1 Morgan, 1 PTC, 1 CCI, 1 Gerstlauer, 1 Arrow. Only 3 Woodies in my whole top 25. All the rest are steel or hybrid, I guess. But the top 10 alone has 3 of the RMCs, 3 Intamins, 3 B&Ms, 1 PTC. So really, RMC and Intamin are some of the best rides by far, and usually the ones I prefer, manufacturer wise. Now, what's going to be going on very soon? I'm hoping to get out to King's Dominion. I'm hoping to ride Twisted Timbers, I-305. Two of those right there are easily able to make my top 10, I feel like. Twisted Timbers, is it better than Twisted Colossus? I don't know. Is it better than Jersey Devil? 100%. So, is it better than Tatsu? Probably. So, I feel like Twisted Timbers might make my top 10. I-305, I feel like is a top 5 coaster for me. I love intimate extreme rides like Sky Rush. I feel like if I-305 is better than Sky Rush, it will be in my top 3. So, my rankings will change drastically. Going back out to Cedar Point, I haven't ridden Maverick. I didn't get a chance to. I didn't get a chance to ride Millennium Force because it was closed. There is a lot of rides that I still need to ride at parks that I've even been to that will change this list, regardless of how you see it. So there are definitely some changings coming to this ranking, and I'm excited. I'm excited to get on these rides and update this list, get to 100 credits, and keep this going. So definitely, I appreciate you all for watching this video. I want to hear what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what your rankings would look like, what you would change in my rankings. Did you think some of my rankings were crazy? Did you think they were accurate? Let me know. I love the discussion. I love hearing what everyone else's rankings are looking like. What rides you enjoy, what's in your top 5. Just let me know down below. I'll definitely respond to you guys. I love talking about coasters, so go ahead and drop your rankings down below. Let me know what you thought. Give a like on the video, and just go follow the coaster page. Go follow Ejected Airtime. I'm trying to bring it back. I'm gonna bring my cameras out to these parks, maybe some drone footage of the parks. I'm gonna get my coaster page going up again for sure. Definitely surprised. And I love El Toro when Ejector Airtime is based off El Toro's trains right there. I mean, you cannot go wrong with this thing. So definitely thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys for coming to this coaster ranking. And I will see you guys very soon with some sort of gaming video, coaster video. We'll see what comes up first. But thank you guys for watching the video. I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great day and take care. Peace.